What have I done?
You have it?
Yeah. What happened? Oh no!
Hey everyone, this is Cardfight bringing you another history match. Today on the left we have my deck tester Orion, who is very hell-bent on trying to make BT2 Kagero work, which is, you know, he's been having a lot of middling success. He's still working on the deck, but today we're going to be taking a look at how it does against one of the two top decks in this current BT6 meta. Even though this is BT6, obviously there are going to be no BT6 cards in this game, as we're playing two old clans introduced in the first two trial decks and first two booster packs. So kind of a little bit of a classic match here, but of course timeline wise we are still BT6. Next game we'll probably have some more BT6 decks, hopefully. Anyways, we see Kagero going first, Orion going first, using the Conroe to search out a Gatling Claw Dragon, which he is going to proceedingly call along with an Iron Tail Dragon, and then using the Blazing Core Dragon skill to counterblast one, putting the Iron Tail and the Gatling Claw into the soul in order to superior ride the Blazing Flare Dragon straight from the deck. So definitely not as good as Azel's Superior Ride. It costs a counterblast and two very specific cards. Whereas Azel just requires your starter and you know, just you ride the right unit and have a rear guard. Anyways, gonna be calling down an Alf, kind of just there for a body. I think we've kind of taken out the Alf ride line, just because, you know, well, it's about as good as Blazing Flare in all honesty. Maybe a little bit better because you're already going to be playing Bar and Tar in your deck in most cases. But we do see the Royal Paladin going for just riding into the Blaster Blade, calling the Galatine. The Lu gets called off of the Barkle. Going to be swinging, pushing at least just one more damage there. Now, I guess it is worth noting that in the next set, EB3, Kagero is going to be getting, I think, 2 more cards of support. So we'll see how the deck ends up handling there. But for the meantime, we do see 2 rear guards being retired here, using the Gatling Claw skill to retire the Barkle, and then the Blazing Flare's Soul Blast 5 to retire the future Knight Lu. Going to be swinging at the Vanguard. Ganslot's going to be intercepting there, swing the massive 22,000 Blazing Flare Dragon there. And of course scoring a very nice hit there, and riding into the King of Knights Alfred. Now we don't actually have 3 CV, so we can't actually use Alfred's skill, but we do have the ability to use other skills such as Blaster Blade skill here, counterblasting the 2, retiring that Alf and calling down another Galatine. So now Alfred is definitely not at full power yet as we swing the Galatine, and we taking a damage there, hitting into a defensive Alfred, just swinging here for a very kind of weak 14k. That is going to be a 1 to pass. It looks like we're going to put down a Gojo in order to make it a 2 to pass. But with that, that defensive is going to shut down the last attack from Blaster Blade. So now we've got back to Kagero. It looks like we don't really have a ton of great attacking units right now, so we're going to be calling down an Overlord, using the Overlord to take out some of the offense there. Swinging with the Vanguard, hitting to a Healture, healing ourselves back down to 3 damage, and then using the skill of the Airmo to pitch a card and draw another card. Kind of just crafting the hand, getting into all the pieces. So that Overlord Rearguard is actually going to be very annoying. Now, 11k bases are fairly uncommon at this point in Vanguard's history, so just having an 11k is going to make a world of difference, as we'll be seeing here. And it's even really good to have as a rear guard, because a lot of things are going to be struggling to actually hit into that 11k rear guard, as we see the King of Knights Alfred here not going to be able to attack into that Overlord. But of course we can just swing into the Vanguard, because Blazing Flare is a 10k base, but of course that is still just a 5k guard. So I guess we can kind of decide if we want to bank on, you know, the same thing as last turn. We could bank on defensive. Looks like we're just going to be committing the 5k shield, swinging the King of Knights Alfred for just 14. We can throw down a 10k shield for a 2 to pass. Not going to be seeing anything off of that drive check except for a stand trigger, giving the power to Blaster Blade so that he'll actually be able to hit. Blaster Blade is going to hit into a defensive trigger, meaning that this standing King of Knights Alfred is not going to be able to actually hit. And honestly, maybe we should have swung Alfred at the Vanguard. That way we would have still had the Blaster Blade to swing into the Overlord in case this situation did happen. But now we see it, the Overlord as the Vanguard. Going to be calling down a Nahalem, swinging into that King of Knight Alfred, swinging the Overlord, getting a drop trigger power, going to the rear guard Overlord, hitting a Blaster Blade into damage using the ammo, and swinging the Overlord at the Blaster Blade. So just slowly taking out the rear guards one way or another. So it looks like we're committing the Flocal to protect the Blaster Blade. Honestly, maybe we should have, you know, protected the King of Knights, but at this, it's all the same considering now that we're on Overlord. You know, your base power is 11k, so the only thing that's hitting unboosted is going to be your Vanguard. But we do see a really good play here, the High Dog Breeder Akane, using her skill to counterblast 2 and Superior Call a High Beast. Of course, going to be that Pongal straight from the deck. So from having just 1 to 2 rear guards, we've now assembled a full board just by calling down 2 cards. Now we aren't actually going to be able to use Alfred's skill at all this game, since we did use already like 4 counterblasts, meaning 3 for him. But we have assembled a fairly good formation, swinging the Blaster Blade for 17, and Alfred now finally very close to full power at that 18. But that 18 is definitely going to be enough, as we do see a heal trigger being flipped here. Unfortunately, not going to be able to heal, but we can give the extra 5k power to Akane. So now if we were still on Blazing Core Dragon, this Akane would be hitting for really nice magic numbers, because she makes a nice 15k column all on her own. But unfortunately, having ridden into the Overlord, that 15k that was a 10k guard now becomes a 5k guard, and that 20k swing is now just a 10k guard, as we swing the 19 Overlord rear guard into the Akane. Going to be blocking it, I think. I didn't quite catch what we blocked it with, but swinging the Overlord and be guarding with the Elaine there, which is a 1 to pass, because that's only going to be 20. Oh, looks like we're going to decide to PG it instead, not taking any risks here. Drive check 1, drive check 2, nothing, but we do see another Bari, which is definitely going to be pretty useful. The Nahalem swinging in at that Blaster Blade, just going to be trying to get rid of a lot of cards, but looks like we are also guarding that Blaster Blade. Once again, a lot of the times you do have to guard your rears in this format, because if you don't really have anything better, you might as well just protect the rears that you already have. So swinging in the Alfred, going to be PG'd, as we see a critical trigger being flipped here, giving them power to that Akane once again, and using Bar to perfect guard there. Did you know that Bar has a very special skill? It's called, when he's put on Guardian Circle, you can discard a perfect guard in order to nullify the attack. I don't know if you knew that, but anyways, looks like Kagero is going to go for the final turn, calling down that stand trigger there, swinging at the Vanguard for a 15, swinging the Overlord for a 17. But I believe, did we throw up a PG in that last check? I don't think so, but looks like we're swinging, going to be getting a critical trigger there. I think we actually did PG that attack. We just kind of missed it, as we are going to be giving Holy Power and crit to the other Overlord, I believe. Okay, so we're just assigning what would actually have happened. So it looks like there was a little bit of a confusion here. I think we might have guarded for like a 2 to pass, or we tried to guard for a 2 to pass, but we kind of misguarded there, as we do see the crit trigger being flipped over and giving all the effects to that rear guard Overlord, who's swinging for a 22. Are we going to be able to block it? Looks like we have the Yggdrasil Maiden as well as a Lian, so barely going to be able to block it. And calling down the last card in our hand, being another Lian, going to have to try and finish it this turn. Kagero with not very many cards in hand. Going to be overguarding there a little bit, because that's a 15, and at 11k base, you only need a 5k shield there, so going to be blocking that. Alfred swinging in for an 18. We're going to go for 1 to pass. First check's going to be a critical trigger, giving all the effects to Alfred. And then, of course, second check is going to be a stand trigger, but that is going to be the end of the match. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to do all these YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.